Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We stream live on YouTube and Facebook. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What up, Cowboys Nation? Yo, boy talking again, dog. Y'all mans is talking again, and we gonna bring it up. But today, we pick up the On the Clock draft series. We're talking offensive lineman with my guy, with our draft analyst, Foots the King. We're gonna talk some of these top O-line prospects. Day 1, day 2, day 3. We're gonna mix it in, and who we believe is our favorite to possibly land with the Cowboys. And then, your boy Jerry Jones, man. Your boy Jerry Jones. He said, what?
Hold on a minute, player. Hold on a minute, player.
Jerry is at the owner meetings and he's talking, and I don't know if he slipped up. I don't know if it was an accident. I don't know if he misspoke, or as Roger Clemens would say, misremembered. I don't know. But we have to talk about what he mentioned in regards to this offensive line, which, hey, look, as a content creator, I always say don't, take the microphone away from Jerry Jones. But as a content creator, he give you something to talk about. And it couldn't have come at a more interesting time, because bringing Foots on to talk about these O-line draft prospects, it matches straight up what Jerry Jones said down at the owners meetings. All right. With that said, what's good, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
Oh, nah, L, this one I just haven't used in a while.
Hold on a minute, player. Hold on a minute, player.
It's been a minute. Y'all know I like to have fun with some of the production aspect of things, and we're going to keep at that, man. But how y'all feeling, man? We got Foots at the top of the hour in about 15 minutes after the roundup. Should be another good show. I think we're doing really well with these on the clock series. I want to kind of mix them up a bit. And today we decided to check out these O-line prospects that he's been in the trenches taking a look at. And I took a look at a few of them too, including obviously one of the biggest names. And I've got some words on. Let's just get ready to it. Hey, Jay, it's funny you say that. I'm working on some production things for a Hear Me Out segment. So I'm going to turn that whole thing into something in regards to Hear Me Out. But before that, y'all got to listen to me talk about the roundup, y'all. So let's do this thing.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Oh, they do it. Hey, oh, they do it.
Hey, yo. Got some number updates from the Cowboys. They dropped this through their media team. Got a bunch of new players, so they got to wear some new numbers. Ronald Jones is wearing number 32, which is one of my favorite football numbers. I think that fits him. Just feels like a power back, tough running back type of number to have. So Ronald Jones is going to wear number 32 for now, right? These things can change. Chuma Edoga will wear 71. Brandon Cooks will wear number 3. I think that's fire. And Stephon Gilmore going to be prime time. He'll be wearing number 21, formerly worn by Ezekiel Elliott. Jerry Jones has some words about Zeke, too. You could tell it hit him a bit to have to get rid of his guy, his darling, in Ezekiel Elliott. And him and Mike McCarthy also spoke about Zeke. But here's what Jerry Jones had to say down there at the owners' meeting about Ezekiel Elliott. Quote, love to have him again. But with what we need to do to make our cap work and what we can do to, Jerry Jones, what we can do to really, in our mind, improve through scheme or another player, that was worth us saving the money on the cap. I could imagine him just skipping right over that another player real fast. But that's the real thing, right? Like, you can improve via other players. You can. Zeke stands. You can. But he brought up cap a lot. And obviously his number was entirely too big for who he had become. He wasn't one of the best backs in the National Football League anymore. He was a guy that obviously should have been part of a rotation and was part of a rotation. And honestly, your secondary part of a rotation. However, apparently he's not ruled out of return. How crazy would that be? Hey, we're going to cut you, Ezekiel Elliott. Then we're going to give away your number, but you can come back. I don't think that's happening. I think it's a long shot. Feels unlikely that Zeke will return, but you can never really rule anything out in the National Football League. Right now, Zeke is going into week 2 being a free agent, so maybe the market is drying up a little bit. And maybe Zeke will say, you know what, I'll come back on the $2 million, $3 million deal. And that'll make all the Zeke fans and Jerry Jones happy. Me, I think they're fine at running back. They can get even better through the draft. On Jonathan Hankins, when asked about Jonathan Hankins, Jerry Jones said there's progress and the two sides are working on a deal to keep him in Dallas. Jones went on to say he doesn't foresee entering the draft with a need at defensive tackle. So that's good. 2 ways, right? Good that they're having progress with Jonathan Hankins, which means he must be trying to get a little bread. He must be trying to get a little bread. But they're having some progress on 2 sides working on a deal. But the biggest one to me is the latter part where he said he does not foresee them entering the draft with a defensive need at defensive tackle. Great. Because that's the only spot right now defensively where there's a hole. Is DT, specifically a run stuffing DT. That doesn't necessarily have to be, a 350-pound guy. I would love to have a couple of them. But they need a guy in there that's primarily a run stopping guy. And the reason why I brought that up is because there is a gentleman by the name of Calais Campbell still out there. Here's the thing, though, about Jonathan Hankins. If they do sign him, I'm throwing more guys at the position. In free agency, not even just free agency or the draft, one or the other. In free agency, prior to the draft, I'm signing 2 guys. I'm putting more than one specific. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket on a Jonathan Hankins. We saw what happened when we did that last year. He got hurt. He is up there in age. He's on the other side of 30 now, and the odds of him getting dinged up probably go up. I'm going to sign 2 of these dudes, and then I'm going to draft one in the 6th or 5th round. And I'm going to say Battle Royale in training camp. We know what our deficiency is on defense. It was cornerback 2. They addressed that, and they addressed that with a dude. And it's at defensive tackle, specifically a run guy. If their thought process is we're going to attack this with veterans, then do it plural. Don't set yourself up for failure if that veteran happens to go down. Because you're not probably going to get a dude like Gilmore anymore at this stage of free agency or the trade market. So go ahead and get you a couple of those reliable guys or a couple of those veteran guys that if one goes down, you're good to go. Or just have a nice rotation. Speaking of rotation, man. Jerry Jones, I don't know if he was asked about the O-line situation, Tyron, Terence, or what have you, but I found this fascinating. Jerry basically implied that Terence Steele will be the swing tackle behind Tyron Smith. So prior to that happening, our guy Michael Gelkin, he went on 105 through the Fan. This is why this is interesting. He went on 105 through the Fan yesterday, I believe it was, or 2 days ago, maybe yesterday morning. And he said in his experience, when guys like Tyron Smith get that kind of deal reworked, it mostly means they weren't coming off the bench. So, okay. And then it comes out that Jerry Jones says that Terence Steele will not be playing guard because he is too valuable as a swing guy behind Tyron and Tyler. Basically meaning Tyron Smith is going to be your right tackle, Tyler Smith your left tackle. Now, the Tyler Smith left tackle thing is not a surprise to me. Gelkin also went on to talk about how he believed that Tyler was the left tackle of the future. We've been talking about it. Felt like left tackle was a position for Tyler. And there was reports weeks ago that they felt like they were going to move forward with Tyler Smith, the left tackle. If that's the case, awesome. Let's do it. Let's get him settled and let him work in. That would mean, though, that left guard would be kind of that gaping hole that you have on the front line. But that was with the thought process that Tyron Smith was going to be your swing tackle, not your right tackle. If we had it Jerry Jones way, this is the projected starting lineup. Tyler at left, maybe a draft pick at left guard. Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. Now, you have to wonder, is this because Terence Steele's recovering? Was this a misspeak? Did he mean Terence as right tackle, Tyron as swing tackle? He is 80 years old, and boy, he ain't looking too great. But he is 80 years old. Another thing, if this is true, right? Like if he is going to be the starting right tackle, talking about Tyron Smith, what does that mean for Terence, who was given a second round tender and probably is looking to get a contract extension? I would imagine the Cowboys want to work out an extension at some point, if not this season, next season. And then the last thing, in reality, Tyron Smith ain't gonna play a lot anyway. I mean, it's a matter of when, not if, Tyron would be replaced. But here's the thing, you don't want to guarantee that you're going to be playing musical chairs at offensive line again. You don't want that. And this is what worried me as I bring you guys back here. This is what worried me when the Cowboys decided to rework Tyron Smith's deal. And everybody was elated. And I was like, cool, but what's his role? Because before I start throwing a party, if they are counting on Tyron Smith to be a starter, that it's annoying a bit. But if they're saying, hey, Tyron, you're going to be insurance, you're going to be veteran insurance, you can play left tackle, you can play right tackle if you know, you're, I don't call him a camp body, but you'll also help us get through camp. And we love to welcome you back as a backup. Cool. Not a problem with it. But I think trying to count on Tyron Smith to be a starter at this stage in his career is foo-foo. It's goofy. We've seen the numbers that sound like a lottery. Like you're picking a lottery at the store behind one of the old heads. 2, 11, and 4. That's how many games he's played. The last 3 seasons. 2, 11, and 4. He's almost guaranteed to miss at least 6, 7, or 8 games. Almost guaranteed. Why the hell would you put him out there as a starter? So I'm just hoping that this was a misspeak, Cowboys Nation, and this wasn't serious. Because if we're being honest, if you wanted to start Tyron Smith, then the best way to do it is to put him at left tackle. Tyron Smith at left, Tyler Smith at left guard, Tyler Biadasz, Zach Martin, Terence Steele. That is your best 5 with a Tyron Smith starting. I still wouldn't want to do that because I don't want to rely on Tyron Smith. So I'm of the thought process, he's your swing guy. He should be your swing guy. But if you want to start him, it ain't at right tackle. Like, look, y'all, go watch the film. He was not better than Terence Steele at right tackle, period. Now, was he deficient to the point where you couldn't get your offense going? I wouldn't say all that, but he wasn't better than Terence Steele. So, I think that's a gross thought to have Tyron play right tackle over Terence Steele if Terence Steele is healthy. And it looks like Terence Steele is going to be healthy come training camp. Now, all that could change. He could look good now. And then when they go to check him out, Dr. Cooper can say Terence Steele's not ready. And maybe that's why he's saying what he's saying. But to go out and say that Terence is your swing tackle, to me,
Hold on a minute, player.
I think that's craziness. That's absolute craziness. How are we feeling, Cowboys Nation, about Terence Steele being a swing tackle and not just starting right tackle? Let's see. It keeps Steele from having to be rushed back, says Slick Vic. Man, if he's ready to go, he's ready to go. We're talking about, offensive lineman who seems to be looking good. If he's not ready to go, then I have no problem with this thought process. But if he's ready to go come, middle of camp or start of camp, which reports where he is, this is weird. Jerry's chief of staff to come. Jerry's chief of staff needs to come clarify his statements. Yeah, real rap. I mean, he does. And again, why are we even saying this I'm gonna just be quiet. I just don't understand why. I mean, it's his team. He's gonna say what he wants to say, but this is goofy, man. Lauren said this Jerry soundbite annoyed me more than most recent ones. If Mike hadn't just showed us that he's not about to roll over for the front office, I'd be nervous. So that's a good point too. Mike McCarthy has yet to speak. Mike, I think, is going to be speaking today at the owners meeting. So maybe he will come out and clarify this. That's another thing, right? This is another reason why this is annoying. Why are you coming out here declaring Terence Steele a swing and Tyron a starter? You're not a coach. You're not Mike Solari. Mike Solari hasn't even gotten a chance to work with these guys yet. And you coming out here saying that Tyron's the starter? What if Mike Solari didn't want Tyron Smith as a starter? It's a whole nother conversation we could have about that. Now, we were feeling real good about the front office is doing it, and now Coach Jerry's coming out, huh? Okay. Before we get to Foots in a couple minutes, let's try to get a couple of our regulars here. And look, we're talking offensive line today, so we got Danny up in the building. So, let's hear from Danny real quick. What's good, man?
Good morning, Sky.
Good morning,
Sky.
Good morning.
Glad we're going to be talking O-line today. Because let's just take a step back. We're going to extend Dak, give him like $250 million. How do we not protect him? Come on. We got to protect this guy. How do we draft a running back without opening holes for him? I never seen a running back besides Barry Sanders make his own holes. So we gotta. But in the same token, this is probably the worst offensive line class I've seen in the last 10 years, at least. You're going to see probably 2 left tackles go in the first round. Broderick Jones, who's my number one, and the kid Parrish Johnson out of Ohio State. After that, there's really nobody else. Day 3, there's like 3 dudes I like only. But I'm going to give you a guy. I'm going to give you a day 3 guy to watch. Carter Warren out of Pitt. He's a left tackle. He started off right tackle his first 2 years, and then his last 2 years they put him at left tackle. He got the job done, but I like him more at right tackle in the NFL. Well, let's go. He's listen, if he shows up 30, 40, he has a frame where if he showed up 30 to 40 pounds heavier, he still would look trim. He would not look fat. He would not look sloppy. But if he shows up the same weight that he was last year, he's going to get tossed in Dak's lap. Then there's one more day 3 guy, and I'm going to be out. Michigan. He's a Virginia transfer. He played for Michigan last year. He has this crazy name that I can't pronounce. I'm not even going to try to pronounce. But he's a day 3 guy. But and let me tell you something. After those first 100 picks, I still would like to get Andrew Voorhees in here. Dallas loves the hurt guys, so let's take him maybe in the 3rd. But after those 100 picks, O-line gets really, really scary in this draft. And like I heard you and Rochester talking about how it's a down year, especially after those first 15 picks.
Yeah, we were talking about just I won't use the word down because I do think depending where you go, coaching, your surrounding, I think all that stuff matters. There's always talent in every single draft. It's just a matter of where they land, and that's kind of where I want to get at with the linemen, because I think with offensive linemen, yeah, in your opinion, there may not be a bunch of wow guys early, but I think if you get guys with traits, you get guys that are coachable, that can be coached up in the right situation. That's how you find these second, third, fourth, fifth round guys that end up turning into dependable starters that you don't even realize. Like, oh, so-and-so been a starter for 5 years in the league, 6 years in the league, and he was drafted in the fourth, fifth round because they got a chance to develop and get coached up. So I think it's going to depend on, the type of traits that you have and where you go. If you end up, a Chaz Green type and you don't have that work ethic and you get to a situation where you behind a Hall of Fame that you're supposed to be, coming in for, and you look like you look, your career is probably going to go downhill if your confidence is shot. But if you're a guy like Terence Steele, who had that work ethic, undrafted, nobody, everybody counted out, he came in, struggled, but, he got coached up right, and he took to coaching well, and he had traits, believe it or not, and put it together. Next thing you know, you're a dependable starter. So I think offensive line is like a lot of these positions, man. Where do you go, and do you have some traits I can work with?
No, I agree with you 110%, but the traits thing, it kills me because, in 21, I think it was 2020 or 2021, the Baltimore Ravens, they drafted this kid. It was 2021. It was Micah's draft. They drafted a kid who ran faster than Micah that had 0 sacks in his entire career at Penn State. And he went in the first round. And he really hasn't done much. So I understand the trait.
I could have sworn he was. Again? You talking about, is it Owe? I could have sworn he was actually doing well.
I'm not a Ravens fan, but I could have. Yeah. I just don't like the traits.
Okay, he's got 8 sacks in the first few years, so he's not killing anything. But I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen Taco. But anyway, go ahead.
Of course. But I just I like drafting football players versus
So you're talking about we're talking about linemen though. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Linemen, I don't give a damn how fast they run. That's why I respect Mozzie Smith for saying I'm not a track star, so I'm not running no 40. I don't give a damn. So we're talking about linemen. So I don't give a damn about no 40. But traits do matter, and fit does matter. And if I can work with those traits, I don't think you can just rule it out. But you want to see other things on top of it, sure.
There's one more kid from the land of playing. His name is Blake Freeland from BYU. I usually don't go near BYU linemen because in the last 50 years, only 2 of them has played in the NFL.
All right.
He's a left tackle, but he's built. He was a quarterback in high school. This kid. He's 6'7", 300.
Well, if you don't go near him, then we can go ahead and we can move forward with it, Danny, because I got my guy Foots the King on the phone, so we can talk to these old linemen.
I'm looking forward to hearing him.
Yes, sir.
I'm out.
Appreciate you, big dog. Yes, indeed. Y'all heard me. Y'all heard that correctly. We got my guy Foots the King in the building. Let's bring him on up in here. My brother from the round table and in general, man. What's good, Foots?
He's in the building.
Hey, bro.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's good with you, man? Look, before we get into breaking down these prospects, I know you heard the I don't know if it's news or whatever, this statement from Jerry Jones about Terence Steele and Tyler Smith. What are your thoughts on his latest comments?
I don't know if Jerry. I think Jerry just talking. Terence Steele's a starter. We know that guy. I mean, Jerry does these things sometimes. He just talks and probably doesn't even know what he's saying. So that's where I'm at with it. Terence Steele's a starter for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Foots, you got me on speaker?
I don't mind a bad spot in the two.
You sound like you're at a distance. I just want to make sure we get good audio.
How about now? Are we good here?
Yeah, a little better. Yeah, if you guys can't hear him, y'all let me know. I'll try to work with Foots here. So you just basically think
how does this sound? How does this sound? Scott, is better.
I can hear you fine. I just want to make sure that they can.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So you're basically saying you believe this is just fodder, basically.
Yeah, it's not. There's no merit to this whatsoever. None.
All right, then we'll leave it at that, man. Hopefully we don't gotta have another round table and be fussing about this.
That will be a 2-hour round table.
Oh my goodness. But I think it'd be one of those round tables where we're all in agreement. Like, what are we doing, man? Terrence Steele earned that. So today, brother, we're talking about.
I completely agree.
Yeah, we're talking about offensive linemen, and it's so funny because when we were rapping yesterday on the text message, this happened before. I mean, we talked about doing O-lineman before the news dropped, and I'm like, bam, perfect, boom. We can talk about O-line as this weird Jerry Jones thing dropped. But before we get to some guys that the Cowboys, I think, have a realistic shot at, I want to talk about some of the top O-line prospects first, and I think what feels like the consensus number one ranked offensive lineman by the media, not necessarily by the draft community, but it feels like by the media, is Peter Skoronski. And I feel like a lot of people have different thoughts on him, whether he be inside, outside. But what are your thoughts on one Peter Skoronski?
Yeah, I mean, me and Vox kind of differ on Skoronski. Listen, there's a chance that Broderick Jones could jump in Vox. I mean, Vox, this guy. And so in that, he could, I won't say that he'll free fall, but like if he's a guy, right, that I think the same way that you all may think about Tyler Smith as being an all-pro guard, I kind of feel the same way about Skoronski. Like, but we got to remember, he helped himself at the combine. I mean, a 34-inch vert was outstanding. The pass sets are really good. I just think that he has short arms, and he doesn't look like a tackle because he's 6'4", but he's built like he's 6'4", but it's like the shortest 6'4" that I've seen. But we got to think about where is he coming from. Northwestern, they put some tackles in the league now, Sky. So I love the film. I think that you could kick him inside the guard with that tackle flex, and I think that he will come in for Dallas and help you. Like, his film is really good. Go watch the games. Go watch the Ohio State game against good D linemen. No issues. So, to me, I love Skoronski. And the technique, the power could be a little like there's guys like Osiris with better power, but the technique is outstanding.
That was one of the things that I had brought up with Vach when we were talking about Skoronski, right? Look, he might not be the over-powerful guy, but is the fact that he's a technical sound type of lineman give him an advantage early on? And you said kick him inside. I hear that a lot. Kick him inside, then I see some mock drafts draft him to be a tackle. What do you think, non-Cowboys related, is the best spot for Peter Skoronski?
Guard.
Okay.
Guard. Because I think that, the way the league is going and trending now, right? You want mauler guards, guy, but you don't need mauler guards. Like, you kind of just need guys. You get what I'm saying? Like, guys like Ron O'Leary, you don't need those players anymore because of what people are trying to do with outside zone. I mean, his sets on outside zone where he's getting on that upfield shoulder. Him and Smith really blocked outside zone the best. His gas scheme stuff is cool. Like, the pull game isn't the best because he's not Tyler Smith in that sense. Like, he doesn't want to come and just destroy you. That's not his game. But the footwork for his size is outstanding. You see the athletic measurables I just gave him to you. I mean, 9.7 broad jump, 34-inch vertical. I mean, what are we talking about, Scott? At 313, you tell me. I don't see. And again, I like what you were saying to your last call. Who, by the way, he wasn't wrong on his last prospect because I actually just tweeted about the BYU tackle. So he wasn't wrong there. But you're making a good point. People have to remember that your O-linemen don't have to be finished products. That's just like even a guy like Blake Freeland, he could come in, development. But even with Skoronski, even a first-round player, Tyler Smith wasn't a finished product last year. You bring in a guy like this, kick him next to Tyler Smith, I think it makes a lot of sense.
You talk about athlete. One of my favorite pass protecting prospects in this draft, man, is Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
And I think this kid can come in and be plug and play ready at left tackle, where you could depend on him to protect the quarterback's blind side. How you feel about Anton Harrison?
Arms are long. The set looks good. He looks more like a power forward, and that's what you want out of your tackle, right? If you're going up against guys like Micah, Hassan Reddick, those twitchy athletes on the edge. And what I was pleasantly surprised, he absorbed guys who tried to bull rush him very well. Now, he's not going to move you. That's not his game. So you got to know what you're getting. I think that he could stand to probably put on about 10 more pounds, Sky, but he's not going to move you. But the feet are exceptional. Before the process started, you probably had him third, second round. I think he may creep himself into the first round just because offensive lines around the league aren't that great. I think now if you want to have a conversation with him, because he is a dancing bear, and you know how much I love Tyler Smith at tackle, but if you want to have a conversation with him, kick him to left and then kick Tyler in the guard, now we're talking. And that's fair, Scott. Now we're talking.
Yeah, he's one of the few I feel like that too as well. I think he can come in right now and be probably better than Tyler as a pass protector.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the foot. So the issue with Tyler was the foot quickness and the foot speed. With Harrison, I mean, the lateral movement is outstanding. He can overtake a 5-tech. I mean, when those 5 techniques, if they don't have a plan, I mean, go watch the Nebraska game, go watch the Oklahoma State game. I mean, these are against guys as well. If they don't have a plan, he got you.
Yeah.
I think with power, and sometimes when they ask him to go next level, Sky, it was kind of like, uh-oh, am I going to be powerful? Am I square? Am I, really handling what I'm supposed to handle? He kind of struggled there. But all his reps, I watched about 3 games of him, and everything that I saw of him, he's a right now player at left tackle, right now.
Yeah, and when you listen to Mike,
which is strange.
Yeah.
Excuse me, real quick, Scott. Which is strange to say that he's not getting more love early on. It's strange because he could be staring at you at 26.
So Coach McCarthy talked about wanting to get better at pass protecting. It was one of the things he brought up in his press conference a while ago. And it kind of got glossed over because we understand, we want to run the ball. That's the biggest thing that they said. We want to run the ball, and everybody took that as we're going to be the next Tennessee Titans. We're going to run the ball 45 times. I don't think that's the case. If you listen to what he said the very first thing that they're working on is to make sure that they're protecting Dak Prescott and that they have a better pass protection, whether it be schematically or just these players, developing there. And I think Harrison will help you with that. Now, it also sounds like they want to keep Tyler out there at left tackle, but if he's staring at you at 26, depending on who else is on the board, I think this could be a value pick, man. Mike Solari is a very well-respected coach. I think he can help coach him up when it comes to the run blocking. And if you go look at him in Seattle, it's not like he had a whole bunch of super talented guys like Anton Harrison to work with, and those dudes ran the ball well. So,
yeah. And another thing about even with Mike McCarthy, he's been known to take tackles who have a specific skill set, and even guys in the later rounds, and then develop them as well. So, I'm not mad at Anton Harrison at all, and he is one of those guys. I say, okay, you draft Harrison, and then you move him inside, you move Tyler Smith inside, and then you're ready to roll.
So this next prospect, it sounds crazy because all these top-end offensive linemen, and for whatever reason, I just have not come around to Darnell Wright just yet, meaning I haven't got a chance to really plug in and sit down and watch him. So when you brought him up, I said, great. I want to listen to what you got to say about Darnell Wright out of Tennessee, and then that'll probably motivate me to go check him out even more. So what's your thought process on Darnell Wright?
He's a big guy. I think why you've done this and why a lot of fans have done this is he's a right tackle. That's what he exclusively played at Tennessee. And so, he's a former 5-star, but he's a right tackle. And the truth is right tackles just don't get the same amount of love as left tackles. You know what I mean, Scott? He has experience at left tackle, but he's a right tackle. His length is what he does well. Not a foot. He's not as fleet of foot as a guy like Harrison or even Skoronski. I think Skoronski has better feet than Wright. And so sometimes if you get those guys that like the ghost rush, and those just twist up athletes, he may struggle. Now I'm gonna tell you this about Wright. You talking about go watch him against Will Anderson, and you'll say, "Oh, this is interesting." Okay, so you're talking about a guy who's played in the SEC, Scott, who's done some decent things. I mean, he held his own against Will Anderson, and so that those type of matchups alone. If a coach is looking at that, they're watching film and they're saying, "Hey, if he did this against a guy who's going to be a top 5 pick, why can't we get him in our room and develop him?" And that's the whole goal. These guys don't have to be pro ready. So I like Wright a lot. I think he can play left, but ideally he's been a right, and so that's kind of tricky. But I had to put him up here because we have to do our due diligence no matter what, guys. We can't just say, "Oh, he doesn't fit for the Cowboys," because you never know what they see in him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, do you think he has inside ability? Because he damn sure has the size.
He has the size, and him and Terence would definitely. So with him, I wouldn't say that he moves people as well as like Smith. Even Skoronski moves people a little bit better. But as a tackle, like a true tackle mirror, and power for tackle, I think he could play it. He's played all over the line. So like when he was a freshman, I was reading that he had to step in at guard a little bit. So he can do it, Scott. I just don't know if Dallas would you would much rather have Skoronski kick down versus a guy like Wright. If that's just me. But Dallas may have other plans. And trust me, he's on their board because this guy can play.
Well, I think this next guy to me, just feels like a guy that projects more as a guard in the league. But before we talk about him, I want to kind of go back to last year, our very first Foots the King NFL draft show on A to Z Sports. We talked about some prospects down at the Senior Bowl. And the first dude, when you sent me, I said, "Yo, this dude here, Walesko, is a skyscraper." But I did like what I saw on the tape, and the next thing you know, Cowboys are drafting Matt Walesko in the 5th round. I don't know why, man. I just feel like, Cody, is it Mach? I always say his name wrong.
Yeah, no, Cody Mach.
Cody Mach. I just feel like this could be another situation.
I've heard Mach. I've heard all sorts of things. I honestly don't know the correct way to pronounce it. And when he was at the combine, I didn't catch it. So I always just say Mach.
Yeah,
but,
Mach.
Well,
he's a guy you brought up at the Senior Bowl. When we had our first show a few months ago, you brought him up, and he's starting to gain some steam. Now, not a first day one type guy, but a guy that feels like he can come in and be a tough guy for one of these teams.
He's a Patriots pick, dude. So he played tackle.
Well, they might take him in the first round.
Dude, the Patriots have done some stuff like that, Scott.
Yeah, Cole Strange.
Where it's just like, there you go. Like they have guys where nobody has him rated a certain way, and then they'll come in and they'll draft him. So with Mach, he played left tackle at North Dakota State, but to me, he is a guard, Scott, yes. And is great value in the 2nd or 3rd round. He's just a tough guy, man. You see his teeth, you see the hair. He's gonna hang around the league for years. He'll never be Zach Martin because he just isn't that good. But he'll always be. He has a really high floor. Let me say that.
I love it.
A very high floor. Oh yeah, very high floor. And I think the Senior Bowl proved that. He's tough. He's gonna be chippy. He can pull. He has good feet. His work at tackle was what made, I think, his work. And then another thing is this: going to North Dakota State is big because of how much they do scheme-wise. Like they literally run everything. So they run pin pull, they run counter tray, they run gap schemes, they run zone schemes. Like they do so many different things, and you see he can literally do all that. And he's somebody that you want in a fight with you. You get what I'm saying, Scott? He's just one of those guys. I would draft him. If, let's say you paired him with the receiver or him with the running back. You go away day 1 and day 2. Let's say it's him and Gibbs. Dude, you're throwing a party. Seriously. You're throwing a party, Scott. So let's say it's him and, Bijan, or him and, you could, if you pair him with the right player in the 1st round, it makes a lot of sense. I love Cody Mach. I love him.
I know this might sound just because they got red hair and they're tough guys, but so what, man? He gives me the Ryan Jensen type vibes from the Bucks. Just a
Absolutely.
down and dirty, tough player, glue guys, not going to be, the all world or what have you, but damn it, you want to have him in a foxhole on that offensive line. I would love to have a glue guy like Cody Mott.
You want him in the back. You want him in the back alley with you. You want him in the back alley with you for sure.
So these next two Foots are guys that are getting a lot of love in Cowboys Nation, and the one that I like a lot, man, that I think is very unique and offers maybe the most value, and it sounds crazy, might not be the best, but the most value is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmitz out of Minnesota. Dude is unique, man. Not only because he's a center that I think can move out and play little guard before he plays center, but he came to Minnesota and stayed there for 6 years. I didn't even realize that until I started really digging in, and I was like, wow, I didn't know he was a 6-year player there, really a 5-year player. He redshirted his freshman year in 2017. But I do think he offers an interesting interior flex if you decide to move on from a Tyler Biadasz, similar to Landon Dickerson in Philly, who was basically there to take over for Kelsey, but Kelsey ain't retiring. So, how you feel about JMS?
Oh, dude, day one starter. Day one starter. He's my highest interior lineman. Day one starter. The technique is outstanding. And I think with linemen, you could do that. Like, you could play that much college football. All he did was keep getting better. Mm-hmm. He's a Big Ten lineman, this guy. The outside zone is incredible. You just don't see interior linemen be able to get next level like he does. He had a rep against Michigan State, and I put it on Twitter, where they're trying to run a game on them, and he's able to pick up the blitzer. I think they had the 3-tech kind of knife backside. He picks up the blitzer that walks down, and he jumps on his outside shoulder. Now, this is a better athlete, but he's able to jump on his outside shoulder. And it's just little things like that, from the center position. And you can play center, you can play guard. He'll be able to do, center to me is more difficult because you have to snap and still get your feet right. He'll be able to play guard. He's not going to get bullied. He's powerful. He's strong enough. He's Tyler Linderbaum to me. And, everybody last year. Now, there's one interesting note about him, right? Everybody last year with Linderbaum said, he's a little small. And then all he does with Baltimore come in, he's one of the best centers in the NFL already. So that size thing at center is tricky because you're getting so many 4 eyes in those open front. Those 4-man fronts where a lot of teams don't even play with a 0. So he's fine. But with Smith, it was interesting because he came to the Senior Bowl at 320. Then he was at the Combine, I believe, at 303. So I don't know if he lost that weight on purpose. Yeah, and now that's guy, but I don't think it'll affect his game. Maybe he wanted to
I think he'll put that back on.
Football shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now watch this, guy. I think big doesn't always equate to being a better lineman. I think that's going to be a trend that we see. I don't always think that, Kelsey isn't a big dude.
No.
He's not.
Kelsey beat you with leverage. Saying? Kelsey beat you with his intelligence, angles and whatnot. But what I mean is, players always come to the combine either putting on some weight if you're small or losing weight if you're a little big to impress, to run better and whatnot. But then they put some of that back on or maybe lose some of it depending on, your position once they get to camp or whatnot. So I don't really think he's going to play at 301. I think he'll be above 310. And once you get down to the nitty gritty, I think he lost weight, like you said, to just kind of show guys, hey, look what I can do. Let me run well. Let me move well. But I don't need him to be 330. Definitely at center because in my opinion, I want my center to kind of get to a spot quick, get to the second level quick because they're usually that first guy that's got to take care of the mic.
Absolutely. He has to ID the mic, then he has to get on him.
Yeah.
He has to ID blitzers. He has to step down. Depending on what they're doing, if they're doing pin pull, he needs to have good feet. He has all that. So to me, sometimes, and let's be honest, we got to talk about being in shape as well. That's one thing that I watched Baltimore still be able to run the ball with Linderbaum well because he's going to beat the hell out of you all game. That wrestler mentality is a real thing. So I like Smith, and I think that he's a first-round player. If you pick him at 26, I'd be fine with that.
And for the Cowboys, that's the same way. I'm right there with you. For the Cowboys, I think he holds even more value because, again, Tyler Biadasz. If they decide to move on from Pro Bowl Tyler Biadasz, he's your guy. And look, I mean, call me crazy, but I do think that there's a higher ceiling with this guy at center than you had with Tyler Biadasz.
Oh no, you're not. You're not crazy at all. He might be better than Tyler Biadasz right now.
Yeah,
I think
at center, right? And look, I joke around calling Tyler Biadasz Pro Bowl Tyler Biadasz because he went to the Pro Bowl. But when you have a guy that potentially has a higher ceiling than a Pro Bowl player, although I know it's not the Pro Bowl pass, but it could sound funny. But no, I think this kid can be a fantastic center for the Cowboys.
No, absolutely. I think you're spot on with that. But I mean, you come in day one. And he's your guard. He starts at guard. He learns the league, and then you kick him in the center. And if Tyler Biadasz is still good, then your line is great. Yeah. So it's a win-win.
Facts. Mm-hmm. Now this next guy has been, going around the rounds of Cowboys Nation for his battle with Mozzie Smith, and we're talking about Steve Avila. And Steve Avila just, that big, strong guard. He plays some center too. 6'3", 332-pound, island boy type of guy who I think comes in right now, gives you more power at the position. But he's got his pros, he's got his cons. Look, I'm no draft guru.
I was about to say that.
But when I watched him, and to me, I think he's a good prospect. But I feel like a lot of people kind of vaulted this, him into the first and top of the first, as if he's one of the best. And I think he's a good prospect, but depending where he lands. Then this is just what I see. Patient guy. I think he's choppy to the second level. I think he works best in a phone booth. But I think he can stand to get better when he's pulling. I think he can stand to strike better. I don't know that TCU did him any favors. That scheme is not – I don't think it's built for a guy like him. They're just shotgun 99% of the damn time. But in a good way, I don't think you could bully this man. I don't think you could just straight up work him to the back of the quarterback's lap. But you're going to have a secondary move if you're a big guy, because once he gets his hands on you, it's pretty much a wrap if you're a big dude. Speed gave him a little trouble, though.
I'll just say this and hold me to this guy. I'm not as high on Avila as everybody else.
Okay.
For a few reasons. People will say that Osiris Torrance has issues, but I see a much more physical player in Torrance than I do in Avila. Also, I'm looking at SEC competition. And with Avila, my issue is, like, when he loses bad. And it's always the same way, the quickness.
Yeah.
And now I don't, you know what I mean? It's always the same way, the quickness. Now, I like what you said about the hand placement and the power, but if you look how he's built, he's like all upper, like his body proportion is just, it's kind of like strange. You don't want to talk about a guy, but it's kind of like he's not evenly proportioned, which, again, you don't want to do the Orlando Brown thing.
Body shape,
Orlando Brown is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Hey,
Steve Avila, you look like melted ice cream, sir.
He looks like ice cream cone. That's actually exactly how he's built. You know when you get it to the car and it's like half. No, but he's gonna be a good player. I just wouldn't touch him in the first. I had a 2-3 on him. I don't think that his feet are married well, and I think that with his arm length, because he doesn't have long arms, I think the problem with him is once he loses with quickness, he just can't recover, and that's an issue. And so you can also see that he hasn't had the same. Now, I will say this. You can definitely see that he doesn't have the same amount of coaching as Skoronski.
That's why I feel like TCU did not do him any favors.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
I wonder if this could be a Tyler Smith situation where, at Tulsa, they was just like, yo, go out there and just be you, and you'll get coached up in the league where you see the traits. But then I think, and I'm like, I actually like Tyler Smith's film better.
Oh, dude, that's not even close. Tyler was a more – see, people got to remember this. When you look at John Michael Schmitz, right, when you look at him finish blocks, look at his lower half. He's not pushing you. He's literally – his legs and his lower half, his feet never stop. So, he's driving for 5, and he's just literally driving you to the ground with his feet. You never see Steve Avila finish blocks like that. It's either a pushing match, or he's laying on top of you, or he's on the ground. And that's the technique thing that needs to clean up for me.
Yeah.
For me, Scott.
I want to ask, and I'm going to try to get Duke on here. I want to ask him about this weird thing I see him do. He chops his feet in the run game when he's going to the second level instead of firing out. I don't know if that's something he's taught. I don't know if that's a way of him to remain patient, because I'd imagine that could help you in the pass game, right? Like you're not leaning over your body. But I've seen him chop his feet to the second level, and he's got to get his hands on you, because if you can just finesse or swim move or attack him first, I feel like it's a disadvantage for him. But it's just something about his film that doesn't. I was shocked when I actually watched him and I listened to the Draft World on Twitter and on these other places, and they're like, yeah, man, this guy right here. And I'm like, yeah, he's got good tape for sure. I think he's got good traits. I think he's got stuff to work with, but he doesn't scream, I have to take this man in round 1. It doesn't scream top
or even round 2.
I mean, it's not like there's a whole lot of options, but.
Let me ask you this, guy. If you had, like Vox doesn't like Whiteler. I love Whiteler. I love that whole Ohio State line, which is one of the reasons why they performed so well against Georgia as they did. That whole line is really good. And so if it's me, I'm taking Voorhees, I'm taking Whiteler over Steve Avila. But that's Foots. That's me. I think that Voorhees' technique is 10 times better. I think his hands are better. And I think that he plays through the play much better. I also think that Voorhees was in better shape than Avila. Now, obviously, Voorhees had the injury, but I'm just giving you an example. Like you said, the draft board will tell you one thing, but when you watch the film, you've been doing this a long time, Sky. You don't have to be a draft expert to know something just doesn't seem right. And then that scheme.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to take a Big Ten lineman before I take a guy from TCU. This isn't a knock, but the coaching will transfer, and then we get him in our building and we can get him better. So that's just one of those things. That's just to me.
As we're talking about all these linemen and whatnot, one of the things that I think about Foots when we're talking about this Cowboys offense is we just don't know what they're going to be, right? And I think that affects how we value or how we look at some of these prospects. And we'll get a better idea moving forward. But offensively, they haven't really signed too many players to give us an edge. Like Chimo Udoga is not really a signing that I think tips their hand. But what I mean is they brought in Solari. We're going to be moving to a little bit more, a little bit more West Coast stuff. Not sure how much. Brian Schottenheimer is the offensive guy that's going to help put things together. Where in years past, we kind of knew what they were looking for. I don't know what they're looking for. Maybe Steve Avila is not the type, maybe that type, not just Avila himself, but that type, that big kind of guard, sloppy dude they're not looking for. Maybe they're looking for more of an athlete in there that can get to the second level, that can pull a little bit better. So I think we'll understand what they're going to do offensively based on that first offensive lineman they take.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think somebody said in the comments, and it's something that you could ask Duke. Big, to me, doesn't mean better and doesn't mean stronger, doesn't mean that you'll be able to last. I'm telling you, looking at Terence Steele, he looks like a power forward in the NBA. That's how Tyron used to look. It doesn't mean better. It just doesn't. And these big guys, the guards, you want them built a certain way, yes.
Right.
But you got to be careful with technique issues. That's the biggest thing, and Steve Avila has some of that. He does, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many power run schemes there are in the NFL anymore, but if you were running a power run scheme, you would want one of those big sloppy type dudes. But I just feel like so many offenses are relying on the RPO game and getting their linemen moving and a lot more mixture of the zone blocking. And you want to, if you're going to have a big guy like that, you need them to have better feet. You need them to have better hands. And I look, I think the dude has an outstanding anchor, though. I didn't see too many people just pushing Steve Avila, back. But, when I'm talking about run blocking, I didn't see this, what I thought I was supposed to see. 6'3", 330 plus. I thought I was going to see a behemoth, a mauling guy. I didn't see that. I actually saw Terence do more of that. But that's his game. That's Terrence's game.
That's what
I think Terence is better.
And I'm glad that me and you are on that. It's crazy. We've been on the same page with a lot because, again, me and Boss fought on Torrance. I don't know what he was watching the Georgia game. Like, yes, Jalen Carter won a few reps, but Torrance won his share of reps too. And I don't know if we're transitioning to Torrance right now, but I just like the player. I just see more grit. I see more that Tyler Smith rawness, but I also see a player who the strength shows up on film. That's me. That's me personally.
Hey, I know you gotta shows up on film. I know you gotta get going soon, but there's so many prospects, and this is why I can't wait to continue to talk some more draft with you. Voorhees, okay, you brought him up earlier. It's funny, somebody in the chat says Voorhees won't die. Your kind of thoughts on Voorhees? Even though he has the ACL, he's going to sit out this year. Where would you take Voorhees?
Oh, I would take him with our 5th round pick because he'll come in next year, and he 5th, 6th easily. I hope he doesn't draft him because of that. Because the guy, I mean, just think about it, dude. He tears his ACL and he goes and benches 35 reps. Like, I want that player on my team. He could have went, cried, thought about the money he lost. He didn't. He wanted to finish. People could say that's corny, but to me, that it says something about a player who's like, you know what, I'm going to work my hardest no matter what. So to me, Sky, I would easily draft him with my 5th or 6th round, give him a contract, and let him just sit for this year, get stronger, and he'll be fine. He'll come back and he'll be fine. Yeah.
Hey man, fantastic stuff as always, Foots. You're one of the best at this, man. I already told you that. Let them know where they can find you, man. And if they ain't following you on Twitter, let them know where they can follow you on Twitter because you drop a lot of draft content there as well.
Yeah, it's at Foots the King everywhere. Thank you so much for having me, Scott. Thank you for showing and pushing the love. I want to hit on 2 things real quick. Somebody that you said you like, Osiris Torrance. To me, he's the pick at 26 still that I had to get this out. That if you can get him in your room, he has the highest ceiling, Scott. Nobody can tell me different. I mean, even higher than Smith because of his build. And you've seen on film him do some nice things. So a lot like his teammate Anthony Richardson, nobody can tell me that this guy, if you don't bring him in and coach him up, that he can't instantly turn your guard position into a mauling position. We just said that tackles really don't have to be maulers, but you want those guards. The league doesn't have those, but he has that ability, Scott, to be one of those. And the feet can be cleaned up. So Osiris is one of those guys. And then Antonio Mafi is a player that's flying under the radar at UCLA.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and we'll touch on him probably more when we do our draft special, Scott, because we could be on here for hours. But I would be remiss if I just didn't mention those 2 names. But man, thank you so much for having me, bro. Like, I never get tired of doing this stuff.
Ever, man, ever. Make sure y'all check out my brother Foots the King. You can find him on the round table when we drop on YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere across social media. Appreciate you, fam.
Peace.
Now you got. Do you still do the on your videos where you come out, you open up your videos and you be like, "Hey."
I do, Scott. I do. Especially the car video. So I'm gonna do it right now. Hey, Scott. Hey.
My God, appreciate you, brother.
Peace,
What's
bro.
the king?
Peace.
Hey, he said I ain't going out of here without getting out my Osiris Torrance take. I feel you, fam. Fire it out there. Osiris Torrance pick 26, highest ceiling for 1, Foots the King. My mans. Look, I wanted to wait to talk to him about my thoughts on the Steve Avila thing. Because when I was watching him, again, good prospect, potential, all that's there. But the hype that I was hearing, I was like, really? I don't see it. I don't, and I get it. We was just talking about this on Vach's channel, right? At pick 26, are you thinking too much when it comes to certain players, right? I don't want to take him at 26, but I'd take him at 35 type of situation. I don't feel that way about Steve Avila. I just wouldn't take him at 26. Well, Scott, would you take him at 50 something? Who's on the board? It just didn't match up to me. But I do think he has some upside there. And maybe again, we talk about traits with Danny. Maybe you get him in here with Solari and you get him next to Zach and Tyron and Tyler and Tyler, all these damn T's. Terence. maybe we need to get a Steve here to mix it up. But maybe, you know, that develops because we can't look at them as finished products. I love that Foot said that. We can't look at these guys as finished products. And I think we're at a point, and Vosh brought this up, right? What do you like? Power? Do you like technique? Are you more athlete guy? Like, I do think you have to figure out what you like, or figure out your biases, and then evaluate your biases and try to adapt. Obviously, what is your scheme as well? Does your scheme, is it more power blocking? Is it more power zone? Is it more wide zone where you want to get, you know, more athletes in the interior? I think all that stuff matters. And we just don't know what Mike Solari is going to do with this scheme. Good morning, Nacho. How you doing, man?
Good morning, my man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Listen, that was good. That was a great conversation with Foots the King, man. I love him as well.
Always.
You guys are outstanding. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think, you know, as we get near and closer to the draft, I think it's starting to get a little bit clearer in terms of what direction we might be going or what we can do. But I do love a Cody Mock or even a Schmitz, and/or you take the best running back if it does fall at you at 26. And I do agree with you. I like that comparison to Jensen with Cody, in that, you know, you do have there's just something about specific players, the way they're built, the way they look, or if they come from a certain conference and they're just built tough, mentally tough, physically tough. But yeah, the thing that kind of was intriguing and a bit kind of confusing was what we heard yesterday, right, about the potential of Tyron being a right tackle and Tyler left and having Steele as a swing.
Yeah.
Why we're bringing that up right now or not, meaning do we now potentially have an opening at left guard?
That's what it feels like.
What's going on there?
That's what it feels like. If what Jerry is saying is true, which is why I try to really not listen to what he says, but when he's so blunt like this, it's hard to just ignore it. So if that's the case, you clearly have a need at left guard. You don't have to have that need if Terence Steele was ready, but if they're going to use Terence as a swing, doesn't this kind of then tip your hand in the draft? I mean, how do you not take a left guard either in the first or second round?
And that is the reason why I think things are starting to become a little bit more and more clear. And then, you know, the idea of you know, whoever is there, if you're going to let the draft come to you, and we're not going to move up a few spots to go get who we really covet, then in that case, you know, it's starting to, I don't know. I know as we get into the draft, we still have a little bit of wiggle room to see if we're going to make any more. I'd like to think we have a couple more moves in free agency that might shore things up, or eventually us taking best player available, which I would think would be the best way to go into the draft. But if we don't address that offensive line situation, right, Steele, then we might be in a situation where there you go.
So they signed Chima Udoka. And I wonder if that's their process, their thought process of, hey, we did everything that we could to go into this draft picking best player available. I would not be looking at Chima Udoka as that guy that stops you from taking a guard. I'm sorry.
No. And he's a depth rotational player. He's not your starter on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, it's getting, yeah. I'd like to think, I know, and that's the exciting part of it, right? Is not knowing, kind of, you know, as a fan, kind of. I've always I've always known and thought that the draft, I mean, you got to hit, because if you hit, you're good for the next so many years. If you don't hit, then you fall behind type of thing. So I'd like to think that we've been pretty good at drafting, you know, in the last so many years. So I'm going to trust the scouting department and play to do a job. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Appreciate the call, man. Good stuff there, Nacho.
All right, my man. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Have a good day.
You too. That's a good point too. What we were talking about yesterday on Vacha Show. Actually, DJ brought it up. I definitely trust whatever they decide to do at the position or in the first round, right? Like their track record or Will McClay's track record speaks for itself. So if they do take a Steve Avila, hey, listen, probably not the guy I would take, especially likely was probably going to be there. But now we evaluate and say, does it make sense? Similar to the Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith wasn't a guy, me personally, I liked other players draft-wise personally. But then I said, all right, remove the emotion. Does it make sense? Yes, it made sense because you needed a guard and you actually needed a tackle of the future because Tyron Smith was not dependable. So it'll be about taking in the emotion of the initial pick and then reevaluating if it makes sense. I think that's how I've been triggering myself moving forward. Does this make sense? Tony from Tampa. What's good, T?
What's going on, Scott?
What's going on with you?
Hey, man, 80 degrees, blue skies, man, I can't complain.
Hey, you know? Yeah, you got me on speaker?
Hold on.
Yeah, you're coming in a little choppy.
It's choppy?
Well, it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like you're a robot, honestly, but it's hard to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Let me tell you what you sound like.
This is what you sound like to me.
Say something now. Let me see.
Is that better?
Much better, much better.
Oh, okay, man. Hey, man, peace to you and Foots, man. Y'all my favorite. You know, I ain't gonna call y'all bloggers, man, but you know, y'all my favorite, man, to listen to, man.
Appreciate you, fam.
You know, you got the best show to me, and you know, Foots do his thing. So, man, salute to y'all too, man. You know what I mean?
Salute to you for checking us out, man. Foots is fantastic. We got a great community, man, and I'm just glad to be a part of it, bro. What you got for the show today?
Yeah. Hey, man, I just want to know one thing. If you on the clock right now, who you taking, man?
That's a lot of players. You gotta give me a narrow it down. You know, there's so many players I'd be okay with them taking at 26. Who do
you got the 20?
Again, though, like who's on the board?
If you had to pick who you thought in the range would be in that range, I ain't gonna say who's on the clock, cause you know what I mean. But you know pretty much the certain ones gonna go early. But who you got though? Who you like late in the first round? Like who would be a good pick for you? Do you be like, all right, I'm good?
I mean, as we currently stand, I'm a fan of taking Mozzie because we don't have that type of defensive tackle on the team. But it sounds like they're going to try to address that, which means that this is a team that historically doesn't take that guy. I'm offensive line as well early. So, you know, any one of these offensive linemen I'd live with. I think we're out on receiver and corner, so I'm not really tripping about taking a receiver or corner early. But to me, it comes down to the trenches, O-line, D-line.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Mozzie, man. That you know, I like him, but I don't know. Just like you said, I don't know. So, yeah, I just wanted to know, man. That's all I had. You know, I just want to know who you would, you know, which way you leaning. You know.
Okay, Jalen Carter. Nah, it's just such a broad question, man. We're at 26. If this was 2 years ago in 2020 when we had the 10th pick, so much easier to narrow that thing down to 2 or 3 players. We at 26. You ask me that question when pick 20 come, because now we know, right? Now we have an idea of who is still going to be there on the board. It's just when you're picking this late, you're at the mercy of what happens in front of you, unfortunately.
Yeah. No question, man. That's all I got, man. Just salute to y'all too, man. That's it.
Appreciate you, brother. Because look,
all right, bro.
What if Bijan is there? Bijan, Steele Vila. Come on, man. We in a weird spot because I could argue trade down a little bit, stay in the first, but trade down a little bit, pick up some more draft capital, use that draft capital and go up later in the draft, go get a guy, a veteran guy, a dude, whatever. But we are just at the mercy of the board. That just is what it is, man. Wouldn't be right if we didn't get Magic City Marv up in here. What's good, Magic City Marv?
What up, family? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Fantastic show here with Foots talking offensive line, talking draft. How you this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. I heard that, like you say, it's the same situation with Tyler Smith. I believe in the style, so I ain't gonna Osiris, Smith, or Avila. Either one I'll be happy with. Doesn't matter. You just got to train them. Avila is used to the left side, and Smith. Osiris not. Now, Avila tape, when you watch him, very powerful. Now, sometimes he will lean over lean. But
Who
you can
talking
train him. Not to, Avila. You can train him not to do that. But his pass blocking is on point. You ain't going to get him. You know what I'm saying? And plus you get in there and practice with my main man that trained Steele and Tyler Smith.
Yeah, Duke.
What's the guy? Duke. If they go with him, if Avila or Cyrus or Smith get that more technique with him, they'll be ready come by September. Because the Cowboys will be doing that run scheme that made Russell Wilson dangerous. You know what I'm saying? With the pass action fake and how they run scheme was, it'll make our halfbacks dangerous. And that screen game going to be dangerous. So we got a lot of things going our way. But another thing, if y'all not looking.
Before you get to that, the thing with Mike Solari is he's been in so many different type of run schemes that I just don't know which one he's going to elect to use here in Dallas. You know, he's been a part of many different successful ones too, by the way. So I believe in him that he'll be able to adapt and put together a quality scheme because I think he's got better players than he had in Seattle. But I'm not quite ready to stamp that Schottenheimer and Solari are going to run the same thing in Seattle just yet. Until we see it. That's all. I'm kind of waiting to see how they decide to roll this thing out.
Well, the good thing with the Cowboys, we got the 3-3-3. And what I mean by the 3-3-3, you just says the new O-line coach, Schottenheimer, and the Green Bay, all the three schemes with the Cowboy scheme. All three schemes. You see what I'm saying? So I call it the 3-3-3. So it's gonna be so
made up some shit. The 3-3-3.
3-3. So it's gonna be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna put that together, and you'll probably have a little Kellen Moore in there that's better. That's gonna help everybody.
So we got the 4-for-4. Is what you're saying? The 4-for-4.
The 4-for-4. There you go. The 4-for-4. And another thing,
we got the what scheme y'all running that 4-for-4? The hell is that?
We're gonna run that 4-for-4. That's what we're gonna say. Still the 4-for-4.
I got you.
But another thing is now y'all better be careful. Either way they go, I'm gonna be happy. Cause the Syracuse guy, that Clemson guy saw that tape, that guy's good for real.
Who you talking about? Brian Brees?
That deep tackle. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Brees is good.
That dude is good. And then you got the other sleeper, it's the Northwestern guy.
The defense end?
Yes, he's good too.
I'm good.
But the deep tackle, there's a lot of deep tackle. But it's Mozzie. I think I ain't gonna lie, I think the Wisconsin guy's better than him, man.
Fair.
Because he penetrates. That guy penetrates every time.
I think they play different. Or, Mozzie, I don't think is asked to do that, although he's more of a one tech that could do three things. Look, it depends what you want, right? It depends what you're looking for.
That's the same thing with the D tackle from Wisconsin. He could play the 3 and the 1. But once he signed, while Hank is trying to get that money, I don't blame him. But the stock is going down, his money about to run out because they waiting. So whoever they get there, and then we drop the D tackle, that's gonna make us good. But we could go a lot of ways. The good thing, I'm happy. I'm not worried about the halfbacks because Bigsby,
deep, man. It's
man,
deep.
it's something. If they bring Zeke back, I'm gonna tell y'all something.
That'd be
you better be ready for
hilarious.
A-Chan, what's his name?
A-Chain
from Texas.
Yeah.
Yes, that's gonna be the sleeper because now you got a guy that run the kickoff back, and then you just keep our punter. What's it? Number 9.
Name is
he just do
appliance.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's the guy? Our punt returner.
Turpin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just be doing the punt. Because A-Chan, hey boy.
A-Town.
So now they got all their backs. They got all the backs. So they're gonna go for an explosive back. But they like Bigsby and the TCU back the most. Miller.
Yeah.
Them the two they like the most. I'm telling y'all. So, but I'm not worried about who they get. I just want them trenches, the D tackle, and the offensive person, whoever they pick. I'll be happy with it. Even if it's a tackle,
with you, Marv.
I'll be happy.
I'm with you, Marv. Hey, appreciate you calling in, fam.
But I love your show. Salute. Hit them lights for my boy Steele. Good show.
Thanks, brother.
Salute.
Marv saying salute. Salute. Marv. That's my old head, man. Yeah, look, man, I'm pretty much 10 toes on the trenches. On the trenches, man. I think it all depends on what you're looking for when it comes to interior D linemen. When it comes to the offensive line, again, let me see if I still got the graphic up. John Michael Schmitz, man, I just find his value so underrated for the Cowboys. I just do. And knowing Stephen Jones, knowing how they like to draft in advance, Tyler Smith, would not shock me. Now, again, I don't know if he's going to be part of the 30 visits. I don't know if they met with him, none of that stuff. But would not shock me if they look at that situation and say, look, this guy is potential ceiling, whatever, is higher than our current guy. Our current guy's solid. We can get through this year, try to make a run for it. But we know after his contract is up, we're going to have to pay him. But we want to pay him that market value when we can get a guy who we believe can be better at that position. I just true. And that's no knock on a Tyler Biadasz. I just think that's, depending on the plot, look, I think that's smart team building depending on your situation. Now, if we're talking Travis Frederick, totally different story. You're obviously just going to lock that in and let's roll. But that's not what Tyler is. Tyler's solid. Tyler has been solid for you. But I think if you can get better, you get better. So I like the trenches in round 1. Unless BPA falls to you at a skill position where it's like, hey, man, what are we supposed to do here? CD Lamb fell in our laps. What am I supposed to do? You know, but I would not be upset at all if they went trenches round 1, round 2. Or a guy to help the trenches on the other side, linebacker, and say round 2 or something like that. Juan, what's good, man? Long time no speak. How you?
What's going on, Will? How you doing, brother?
Man, you know me, hard at work.
Oh, man, I see that. I had to call in, bro, because y'all, let me just say respect to all you guys. I'm trying to find a room to go into. I'm at the gym, actually.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to listen in. But, man, respect to all 5 of you guys on that Scoutcast, because I'm still laughing about that.
The round
insight
table?
and the comedy that comes along. Yeah, bro, that was ridiculous, like in such a good way. I wish yesterday somebody asked Jerry at that owners meeting. There was just one question I had somebody that I wanted someone to ask. After he said the whole thing about the the linemen about how Terence Steele's an elite swing tackle, which is just laughable and comical to all of us, right? I wanted someone to just literally rebuttal that by saying, when does crack, like, the cocaine's happening.
We know.
When does crack come into the picture for you?
Hey, yo. Oh, that would have been so fun. Look, so that's why you can't put me in these rooms. Did you see?
I know. I feel you.
Did you see Space Cowboys tweet?
Go ahead.
When Tim McMahon came at Jerry Jones like 12 years ago or something like that. Tim McMahon basically was like, "Yeah, man, you gotta go look at Space Cowboys tweet." And underneath that, so Tim McMahon basically came at Jerry and was like, "Well, Jerry, so y'all haven't really won anything in 20 years or 15 years at the time, whatever it was, and how do you feel about that?" And he was like, "Well, we got to do better with this and that and this." And he was like, Tim McMahon was like, "Well, you're the general manager. Would you fire yourself?" And Jerry looked at him sideways like, "Hey, dog, look, you have to chill the hell out with these questions." I said, "See, that's why I couldn't be in there, because I would be asking those same type questions, man." So,
Yeah, no, you and I both. You and I, because he would have done the usual Jerry. Well, say a lot of nothing and a lot of nothing at the same time.
He looked pissed off when Tim McMahon asked him that question.
Bro, but to your point, literally, that's what I was going to bring up right now, just to stay on topic with the draft and the offensive lineman, is that people need to keep this in mind, because the strategy of the draft is you're building for today, but you're also building a team. And I love that you brought up the point about Tyler Biadasz, because he's a free agent. You think about next year, after this year, I mean, no one tries to think of that, but the reality is, every year happens so fast, you have to think about the future as well. And Tyler Biadasz probably most likely won't be here because I feel like the fan base really doesn't appreciate how much he's improved from his rookie season. And yes, John Michael Schmitz is a great option. John Michael Schmitz is a great option at 26. He gives us position flex, which we talk about and it's super famous in Dallas. We can have him at guard for now. And then if he needs to step into center in 2024, that saves us another pick down the road. So I don't know. I think we need to embrace the guard and the position flex of John Michael Schmitz at 26 to keep that in mind for this year and next year. But that's all I had to say, bro. Like, I had to call in. I let you know I'm still rocking with you. Come by the crib and come have some Mexican food. It's all up.
I'm down here. I'm a little bit outside the Dallas area now, so text me after the show. I'll let you know what's happening.
I got you, bro. I got you. I'm going to keep listening. All love, bro. Thank you.
Good stuff by Juan. Hey, look, man. To chill with Jerry, to just talk anything but Cowboys team building with Jerry, absolutely. 100% have a beer with Jerry. If my job was to ask questions to Jerry, would not be employed long probably asking those questions. In fact, I would be like, I don't want this job. I don't want to ask Jerry questions about the Cowboys. Why? I'll sit back and listen to his answers. I'd rather talk to McCarthy. McCarthy we're going to talk football. Jerry just Jerry going to say Jerry things. And then I know what he's going to tell me.
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
Well, Jerry, it's my job, man. Like, I got to ask you these questions, fam.
Get your damn act together.
Oh, get your act together, Jerry. Get your goddamn act together and help this Cowboys team get over the hump. Excuse me, sir. We're going to need your reporter badge. Exit the building. They probably jumped me right then and there. No, but seriously, I don't want to talk Cowboys football with Jerry Jones. I just want to rap to Jerry Jones and listen to stories. Yeah. Like an old man, grandfather type thing. I don't want to talk football with Jerry Jones. I'm sorry. 832, what up, though?
Hey, Skywalker, you got it, man. What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm all right, man. It's Mark. Where am I at? San Antonio now? Hey, man, look, everybody was hollering about they wanted Trader Jerry back and Maverick Jerry and Wildcat Jerry. So that's what you get, be careful what you ask for. We'll be back with Jerry standing over training camp hollering, play Quincy Carter, because I think he's, y'all better keep Jerry's mouth shut and let him say what he's going to say and stop worrying about making sure Jerry's involved.
Listen, the beat reporters, that's their job. That's what they got to do. And Jerry is going to make himself available. So I get it. I'm not knocking their job, but
I
always
ain't
say,
worried about Jerry, man. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I say, why are we putting a microphone in this man's face? But I get it, right? They got to write articles. He gives us headlines, all these type things. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, man, about the Cowboys got a two-way go, and I think they go O-line and D-line. My preference would be D-line. You know, I think yesterday I kind of was mixed up about it because I think the O-line is important only because we're going to be changing up how we're doing things offensively. We got a new O-line coach. We're going to do more outside zone running things, and you kind of want to, fortify, him by giving him enough tools to work with. And, aside from Jerry going on about what he don't really know anything about the offensive line stuff, it would be a good thing if you could find a guy to slot at that guard spot if you intend to leave Tyron Smith out at tackle. My preference would be to put Tyron at guard. I think he might be a better guard than he is tackle. That's just my own little thing about that. But whatever you do, address the O-line or the D-line. Again, my preference would be to go get a D tackle. If you can get Miles Smith in that middle, because that would help. What you don't know about your defense is your linebackers. You got two young linebackers. Only God knows why Jabril Cox can't see the field, but I trust Dan Quinn and them that if he can't play, if he hasn't gotten on the field in a meaningful way now, Cox, then there's something going on that we don't know about. But
I wonder. It's a good question. I wonder if he was facing the same situation that Michael Gallup was facing. Coming off of the ACL, just wasn't quite back to himself. So I wonder if year 2 we'll see a better Jabril Cox, or year 2 removed from the ACL. See. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll see. But hey, man, thank you. Keep doing what you do, man.
Appreciate you, Marv. Right from San Antonio.
Yeah, man, I'm all over. I drive trucks, man. So whenever I call you, I'll be probably late this.
All right, man. Be safe out there driving, brother.
Oh yeah, I will, brother.
Salute to all our truck drivers, man. Salute to all the truck drivers out there. Y'all work hard. Y'all backbone of this and getting us everything we need when we need it. And I know it ain't easy. I appreciate y'all. I be shocked how many truck driver fans we have. But I get it. When I used to work for a certain company and I had to drive around a lot, I was listening to the Colin Cowherds, Mike and Mike's in the mornings in sports radio all the time. So, and we didn't have this platform, to listen to other people give us specific takes on our team, which again is why I decided to do what I did. Cause I'm like, look, I like sports radio, but the only way I was getting a, Cowboys Central audio podcast, show, whatever, was .com. And after a while, I was like, I kind of want to hear something different, And boom, next thing you know, podcasting just exploded on the world, and here we are, man. So salute to y'all. I think that's it for the callers. Make sure I think we straight on the super chats. Indeed, tough. So we can wrap to you guys in the chat here in a second, but before we do that, talk about Boston Scientific, Cowboys Nation. In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from ED, and Boston Scientific has created edcure.org to help you find your best cure. To get started, head on over to edcure.org. You take that quiz, you learn the severity or risk of ED, and if you got a condition that puts you at a higher risk, boom, they'll help you find a customized content to find the fastest way for your best cure. Now, it browses an experienced list of physicians in your area by heading over to edcure.org. Brought to you by Boston Scientific. Say it with me, it ain't hard, but you can be.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
in front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
My God. I pray Boston Scientific does not look at the chat. Jeez, y'all nuts. Iceberg said Miles Jack is available. Let me ask y'all this. Because I loved Miles Jack coming out. especially when we were dealing with the whole Jalen Smith knee thing. But so Miles Jack is available, Deion Jones is available. Kind of look at them as two undersized type guys, but one play with Dan Quinn. Miles Jack or Deion Smith, Deion Jones. I'd go Deion Jones. I'd like to see Deion Jones reunite back. Maybe that's where we'll go next, Foots. We got to talk about this linebacker situation. We understand that defensive tackle is the number one technically need on the defense. But I think if I go and look at depth and we don't classify, I'm not even in my head. We don't classify Micah Parsons as a linebacker. I could argue the depth at linebacker is the worst. I'm about to shut up because that might be what we talk about tomorrow. Now, I wouldn't say that if we didn't go get Stephon Gilmore, but that changes things a little bit. Sneaky snake. And I've been saying this for how many years now? This is the third year in a row I'm saying linebackers a sneaky need. It's a sneaky need, man. And I love Damone Clark. I do. I don't trust LVE. I don't. Not knocking him. Had a good year. Probably going to miss some games where you probably going to struggle a good bit until he figures things out. It's kind of how he's been going the last 3 or 4 years. So, once again, we in this whole situation. Oh, Lord. Hold on. So look, Michelle is funny. L, like she's legitimately hilarious. One of the funniest people I know. That's probably why we work well together. Cause I'm a nut. I'm goofy. I have a sense of humor. She's got a better sense of humor. But there's an inside joke to that. That's hilarious. All right, man. What y'all talking about here in this chat? I know Lamont dropped one earlier, super chat wise. Hold up.
Super chat.
There we go. Sky Shiesty, what's goody, broski? What up, Lamont? Appreciate you dropping the $2 donation in there. Two Broke said, don't forget about Devin too. We're talking about Devin Bush. They talking about Two Broke. When I was looking into Devin Bush, I don't know why I was put off. I gotta remember, trying to remember when I did my research on Devin Bush. I was just put off. I know he was a hurt guy for a little bit. Pittsburgh was kind of put off by him there, if that's what you're talking about. Oh, Devin Harper. Okay, Devin Harper. Oh, well, okay, so we're talking about the depth. Look, if we want to get into it right now, Too Broke, look, I like Devin Harper. I like Jabril Cox. I like Damone Clark. But we're talking about depth, right? When we talk about depth, you're talking about being reliable. We don't know about Devin Harper. We don't know about Jabril Cox. I do like Damone Clark, right? But Damone Clark seems to be the only guy, if we're talking about remaining healthy types, that hasn't been hurt guy. And he was a hurt guy. Like, hear me out. He was a hurt guy coming in because of his neck, but he didn't get hurt playing in the NFL yet. Everybody else, Jabril Cox can't see the field. We don't know if he's back from his ACL or not. Devin Harper might have got the old ankle hurt type thing, but we don't know. And I like Devin as potential special teams dude, but we don't know. LVE is probably guaranteed to get hurt and miss some games or be ailing with something. It's just thin there, man. It's just thin there. And I don't like that, man. I want to have some sure things. I feel like Deion Jones, even if you want to call Miles Jack, but Deion Jones give you a sure 3. If one goes down, I got a 2. Think about it. LVE goes down right now. You're down to Jabril Cox and Devin Harper and Damone Clark. A little scary, man. A little scary. Iceberg said he'll give up his pet cat Dalton Kincaid if we can draft technician John Michael Schmidt. Yeah, look, Dalton Kincaid, that's your guy. Everybody got a guy in a draft. I don't really have one in round 1 this year. A realistic guy, I should say, in round 1 this year. I don't think I do. So that's why I feel like I'm more open at 26, and I don't see myself slamming my pen at 26 because there's so many dudes that just are kind of I'm lukewarm on, in the sense of not emotionally attached to. So they could pick a lot of guys, and I'd be like, all right, let's make sense of it. And also because I've been heartbroken by TJ Watt, so I'm kind of cold now in the draft, y'all. I'm cold. Cowboys broke my heart. Let's get the 956 real quick. He snuck up in here at the end. What's goody?
Oh shit, what's up, bro? Hey, quick question is about our linebacker. What about Story Jackson? Is he coming back?
Say that again. It would sound like a lot was going on in the back.
Yeah, so I'm not a job player, not everybody's here. No, I was just asking a quick question about the linebacker. Is Story Jackson coming back?
Oh nah, Story is last I heard he was with Denver, but that was a long time ago.
Shit, he looked pretty good in the offseason that season. Dude, I would think he would be a nice little help. But yeah, I feel you on that one. I'll let y'all go though.
All right, brother. He 100% has to be at work cutting something in the background. But Story Jackson, the plane's taking off. Story Jackson, man, he was a fan favorite. He's a fan favorite. I believe he was with Denver after he left Dallas, and then I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, man, linebacker. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe we'll talk about it later. I was gonna say let me get back into the chat, but y'all talking about my mans. Danny said Devin Harper's a 4-4 guy. Devin Harper was fun to study last year. Just kind of a kamikaze type of linebacker. Also, when you researched him, apparently he was fantastic on special teams too. Super athletic. I think he's gonna again be fun to watch in camp. I thought he was solid in preseason. Then got hurt. Yeah. But I'm not looking at Devin Harper and like, yep, our depth is great. Like that's what I mean when I talk about depth at linebacker. We can like these guys, especially because we're Cowboy fans. But would you put money on this depth being considered good or great or what have you? I would not. I actually think if you really want to be honest, it's probably the second least deep position on the entire team. Now I think about it. Some people might argue running back, but I was going to go guard. Left guard. We're being specific, left guard, because you don't have one. Period at left guard. Period. Nowhere on defense isn't nearly as bad as this. Receiver got better. Quarterback, you got Dak, you got Cooper Rush, who's 5-1 as a starter, so you can't even say quarterback. Running back, you could argue, I guess. I wouldn't fight you. Whatever. I think running back fine. But linebacker, the depth wise, is concerning to me. The NP said, do you go with depth at linebacker or need at defensive tackle? For the draft, as we stand, I mean, I think you need to get a guy, right? Now we want to wait till round 5 and get the not Chattanooga kid, the Coastal Carolina kid, or wait till round 3 and get the Baylor kid. All right, cool, but make sure you bring in other dudes. I don't like the hole that we have at defensive tackle right now, but Jerry said they're not going to go into the draft with that hole, so let's hope not. All right, man, good stuff today. Jackson's story is done. You know what, Tom? I was trying to think of one, but that was good. Fantastic, sir. Good for you. I expect nothing less from All In Tom. If y'all rock with today's show and y'all rock with this On the Clock series, y'all just rock with me, period. Do me a favor, man. Hit that like button. It take 2 seconds. Helps out. We're going to get this algorithm back popping because we're still trying to climb back from that weird suspension we had during the season. And we're trying to just grow this thing. We're trying to make this the best Cowboys morning show in the land. And I keep teasing it, but we'll be dotting I's and crossing T's here soon to make it even better. Y'all will love this treat we got for y'all coming up that we'll be carrying not just through the off season, but through the damn season. This is going to be special, man. And I'm continuing to learn and grow how to make this show even better, especially solo. I don't think a lot of people understand how difficult it is to do this dolo. But I'm trying to figure out how to continue to grow this thing and make it even better, man. I'm driven by this. But I appreciate y'all. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you appreciate all this that we do. And later on, we'll be on Vach's show. Vach and Boy Live talking the NFL draft. It is Tuesday, so we'll be talking all 32 as he calls it. And then Mo will be back on later for the A to Z Sports Prime Time. And if we get any breaking news, we'll talk about that on Vach's show, though. But as of right now, all 32 later on. All right. With that said, press this button and get up out of here. You know what, Shaq, man? The fact that you be in here, it lets me know that must be doing something right, man. Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate all y'all. Appreciate the Bomb Squad. Y'all the best. Check me out later. Hit me up on Twitter if you want. Skywalker Steele. And yeah, keep rocking. It's Mo's B-Day. Happy B-Day, Mo. We out. Peace.
Bomb Squad!